Hey everybody, this is John and Adam from the Real Movie Review. We're excited to be able to talk to you guys today. We will finally, seems like forever now, finally be talking about Star Wars. So let's get right into it. Adam, Star Wars: The Force Awakens. What'd you think of the story?
Well, first off, the movie I loved. So, okay, let's clarify. From here on out, there are going to be spoilers. So if you haven't seen it, press stop, go watch the movie, get out of here. We don't want you to hear it. But from here on out, everybody knows spoilers. Story-wise, though, I thought they did a good job on the story. Now, obviously, there were things that were required because this was a new story. It was going to be very, very similar to A New Hope. And a lot of people that I've read online have been saying, oh, it's the exact same thing as New Hope. Oh, man. Well, it's going to be similar, just like the other Star Wars were similar as well.
Yeah, that's the big thing I've been hearing a lot of lately is just how similar this is to A New Hope. And what I think needs, my opinion on it is this, because the whole Star Wars franchise is already a fragile thing in people's minds. Like, everybody holds it in such esteem that with the prequels kind of making us mad and the Clone Wars stuff kind of making us mad, like, with this movie, J.J. Abrams needed to play it safe. Disney made the smartest decision they could in putting J.J. Abrams in charge of this movie, largely due to the fact that he is the safest director you could have chosen. He is not crazy. He's not going to break any rules. He's not going to change any story tropes. He's not going to do anything particularly, like, weird.
Right.
You know?
Right.
So what's cool about J.J. Abrams is that you can guarantee a safe film. And you put J.J. Abrams at the helm, and he's going to look at what was successful before and do that. And honestly, that was probably the right decision.
It was the right decision. It was absolutely the right decision. Not only are you, because he's not only bringing out a new trilogy, but he's revamping an entire, like, I almost feel like series or trilogy or something like that is not the right word to describe what he's starting. He's going to start. I mean, you're talking about generations and generations that are now going to be involved in seeing Star Wars, and he had to start it. And I think a lot of people are riding the coattails of the amount of hype that went with this movie, because there's not a single movie in history that had the hype that this Star Wars had on it. Period, yeah. Bar none. Nobody had the hype that this Star Wars had. I don't care what you say. I don't care what anybody says. No one even came close.
Yeah.
So he had a lot of pressure on him, and I think you're absolutely right. He went with the safe bet, and he went with A New Hope. But if you go back and look at the other Star Wars, A New Hope and Phantom Menace are really, really close together. They just seem differently because the filming and the camera work and everything was so drastic different that you didn't really focus on the story. But in this movie, I feel like everything was so similar because, you know, you still have X-Wings that look similar. You still have the, you know, the Starfighter, the TIE Fighters, everything looked similar, so you were able to focus more on the story points. But if you go back and look at Phantom Menace, you know, he finds this new hero that's on a desert planet that doesn't have a complete family. He always, you know, I mean, he's got a mom, but doesn't have a complete family. The hero meets this person that's supposed to be the new guiding source in his life, like a missing family member that's supposed to guide them, that dies in the end. I mean, that's literally Han Solo and Rey.
Yeah, I'm glad.
And Luke and Obi-Wan. So it's like the exact same thing you're seeing across the board, but I feel like people just now noticed it in this one and were able to excuse it in the first one.
Yeah, the thing is if you look at how A New Hope worked originally, it was very safe. It was originally an exploration of what's that? Joseph Campbell. If you've heard of Joseph Campbell's book on the hero's journey, like, you look at what Star Wars Episode 4 was, and it was pretty much a note-for-note retread of what that book explained the hero's journey to be. And that's as safe as you could be. That's mythology through history that has followed this pattern, and you decide to follow that pattern to a T to make a movie. Everybody's comfortable with this pattern. Everybody understands it. I mean, it's been around for thousands of years, this story pattern. It's in everybody's culture. We've all seen it. You can't get safer than that. And so now we're doing it again in the same way. That what I think is interesting here is everybody didn't realize how safe the original A New Hope was when it came out, because it was new. Like the new Star Wars thing, it was exciting, it was great. But this new one is kicking off a whole new trilogy and beyond, like you're talking about. And they're trying to make it as much a success as it was originally. They're trying to follow what worked in the originals and follow that same formula. You know what I mean?
Well, not even the original. I mean, if you take the originals, yes, they had the formula, but like you were saying, they were extremely safe because not only did the originals follow this basic formula, but that formula has been around since like Greek mythology. I mean, I literally go back and start breaking down a bunch of, Hercules and a bunch of those mythological heroes that we know, it almost ties in exactly with Luke Skywalker's storyline.
Yeah. I mean, the hero's journey, there's a reason why it's so comfortable. It's been around for thousands of years. Everybody understands it. It's kind of ingrained in each of us to have that make sense to us.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, you can't get safer than that. And so, going back to my point, the story itself, J.J. Abrams was as safe a choice as you could have had for this. Because he is great at mimicking these kinds of things.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you watch his other films, all of his good movies are copies of something else. He is the best mimic I have seen in Hollywood, and he needs to be credited for that. Like, we knew, or Disney knew going in, we need this movie to be safe. How do we make it safe? Well, let's just make A New Hope. Let's just revamp it. Yeah. Who's the best guy to do that?
J.J. Abrams.
Exactly.
That's right. I mean, he did an amazing job with I'm sorry. Into Darkness. I'm sorry.
You see, that's the point. Like, he takes these great things and just redoes them, and that's great. He adds a couple lens flares, which is his own personal touch.
Right.
But outside of that, like, he is the best mimic we have in Hollywood. Like, people are calling him the next Steven Spielberg, and I don't think he's the next Steven Spielberg. He just knows how to clone very, very well.
Yes. Yeah.
And he's done a very good job at that.
Yeah. I mean, you're right. He's very good. The thing I do like about him is he does mimic Steven Spielberg's screenshots and stuff like that. The way that he actually films, he mimics Steven. But as far as his ideas and thinking outside the box, he does mimic a lot. But he's extremely good at what it does. And I honestly think as he goes through the years, he might start thinking out of the box, and you'll see him become that. But he's not an early day Steven Spielberg or anything like that.
No. Hopefully
he'll do the exact opposite, where Steven Spielberg's absolutely amazing, and then at the end of his days, he starts getting a little crazier, and you start getting crap like Crystal Skulls, the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, and maybe J.J. Abrams the exact opposite. He's good at mimicking, and then through the years, we'll get these amazing movies at the end that are new, and no one's ever thought of them before. So.
Yeah, that's quite possible. JJ was the right choice, and he's not the one directing this next one, and it's because their plan is for this next one, this number 2 in their trilogy, is going to be the edgy one.
Yeah,
that's their plan.
Yeah. Which is great. I mean, it's the perfect play to do, just like you see in The New Hope, where it's very basic, very and then all of a sudden you get to The Empire Strikes Back, and it's a completely different movie. But when you're writing a trilogy, that middle chapter where you feel like the good guys lost is extremely necessary, even though most of the general public that goes to see it, at the end of the movie, they're going to be like, dude, the good guys lost. Oh. But when they go back and look at it as a trilogy, they're going to love it.
Yeah.
But their first watching, everybody kind of goes, oh.
Well, and just from like a cinema critic perspective, Empire Strikes Back is arguably the best movie in the original trilogy.
I love it. That one in Return of the Jedi, to me, I think I really enjoy it.
See, Return of the Jedi is going to get you a few spears aimed at you, but
Hey man, I'm telling you, I think it's a great movie.
yeah.
I mean, most of the time when people complain about it, they complain about the Ewoks, and I'm like, okay, fine, you didn't like the teddy bears. I agree, that's fine, but it's still a great movie, and it still tells a great story.
And that's when you can go down to one thing, like outside of the teddy bears, what's wrong with that movie? And
Exactly.
the teddy bears, granted, are pretty bad, but up to that point, I thought the movie was great.
Yeah, it did just fine. Did just fine. It was great. It was
Mhm.
great. So anyway, what did you? What were the differences? What were some things that you saw that were different than A New Hope that you liked?
The- Well, I'll get the easy answer out of the way first. The diversity.
Yeah.
Our new Luke Skywalker character being a girl, that's fantastic.
Yeah. Oh, and we'll talk about her when we talk about characters, man. She was.
And I want to make it quite clear that my opinion is this: she's an incredible actor. Like her character was fantastic.
She was. That's why I'm
I
saying.
don't want anybody thinking that I just thought she was hot.
No, I mean
It's a
she's
fantastic.
beautiful, but gosh, she's an amazing actress. The way we'll talk about it when we get to characters, but man, I could go on for days about how she acted in that movie. She did great.
Well, and I loved John Boyega's character.
Oh, you're just gonna skip right into characters.
All right, hold on. Before I do that, I want you to give me some of these differences. I want you to tell me.
Well, for the one thing is speaking of John Boyega, I love the fact that we actually get to see stormtroopers as not just like robots, kind of. You actually see blood from a stormtrooper. You've never seen blood from a stormtrooper, and here you
Nope.
are seeing blood from a stormtrooper on his mask, and then you see him take off his helmet multiple times, and then you see when he's at the temple that had blown up, and that stormtrooper goes traitor. You're actually seeing these traitors. I mean, these traitors. You're actually seeing these stormtroopers act on their own. Like, traitor, you turned against us. He's showing I'm not just a mindless robot, just blasting. I'm pissed you left too.
Yeah, I'm a person.
Yeah, I'm a
they made the
person.
stormtroopers people.
They did, and they did a good job. But at the same time, knowing that they are just soldiers, they did a good job with that.
That's true. That was good. So one of the big complaints is the fact that we had to get Death Star 3 in here.
Right.
And not only was it Death Star 3, it couldn't just blow up a planet this time. It had to blow up an entire solar system. Like, I feel like we get caught into that Super Mario Brothers issue where, we're Super Mario Brothers. We're now Super Mario World. Now we're Super Mario Galaxy. And now we're written ourselves into a corner because we can't get much bigger. Like, it's like, welcome to Super Mario 5th Dimension. I don't know. What's left?
Hey, man, don't put it past them. Because the moment they say that there's a multiverse, you're in big trouble. You're going to be playing that game for years.
Yeah.
But no, okay, so, it is the Death Star 3. And they even made a comment of it in the movie. And I understand why they put it in. Because, number one, at the end of Return of the Jedi, Death Star is blown up. Technically, the Empire should be falling apart.
Yep.
You already see, and when they showed Jakku at the very beginning of the movie, you see all these Star Destroyers crashed into the planet, and you see one X-Wing. So one X-Wing just beat everybody. And you see an AT-AT or an AT-AT, whatever you want to call them, that she's living in, and you see all these Star Destroyers. So you're seeing that the Empire is falling apart, right? And so if I'm going to walk into this, I should assume the Empire is falling apart and the Republic has gained control. So what they needed to do is they needed a way to kind of level the playing field.
Yep.
They needed a way to say the Republic has lost its power and the Empire or the First Order that's rising up is now on equal playing field. Because they were able to take one shot, wham, and level it out. And so now the Republic has very few ships. They're small. Then they just blew up the Starkiller base. So now it's whatever they had off-world. So now it's kind of like you don't know who's the real strength and you don't know where everybody's at. I don't think you're going to see any kind of major weapon that can blow up planets anymore. I think you're going to start seeing it actually go to soldiers on foot, fighting, aerial battles, more of a... God, I really want to stay away from this word. But more of a Clone Wars type where you actually see them on the ground fighting. I did not want to bring that up, man. But I think that's what they're going to start pushing towards, is that it's not just one giant big ship or one giant big weapon. I think it's more of a actual two sides fighting.
That'll be interesting to see because I could see that for sure in the second one, but in the third one, I'd be shocked if we don't have a big something we're going to be fighting. And I mean, we're getting to the point where we fought a planet-sized thing. We're going to end up just shooting missiles into the sun next time. I mean, so we got to find the secret missile.
There's no reason to shoot a missile in the sun if you can suck up a sun.
True, valid point.
If you can turn the sun into 5 missiles, why would you shoot it? I mean, it's the Mario effect eventually. They're just going to be like, we have a way to destroy the entire galaxy.
So, like, we just got to get bigger.
I know. We just got to get bigger. Instead of star systems, now it's half the galaxy. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how much more, like, after that's gone, who's going to be scary next? You know? Like,
That's what I'm saying. It literally, I think it's going to come down to foot soldiers and, and then you'll end up, and I think what I would do is I would move it from the Sith being, and I hope they kind of do this, being, instead of just the rule of 2, the master and the apprentice, I think you're going to see them go from that to seeing like an army of Sith.
Oh, yeah.
Like you see, I don't know if you watch the Clone Wars cartoon or the Star Wars Rebels cartoon. And in those cartoons, you kind of see, I mean, they're in between time, but you'll start seeing more people with lightsabers that are kind of know their way with the Force, but they're not masters. And I think that's hopefully where they're going with the Knights of Ren, because you did see the Knights of Ren in the movie, but very briefly, when the rain was coming down. So I'm thinking that you're actually going to see them start playing a bigger role with the Force, but they're not going to be, like, Kylo is definitely going to be the leader, and Snoke is going to be the supreme leader, but I think you're going to see more than just one Sith.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah. And which is a safe way to go, because then you can start branching off your story any direction you want.
Yep.
So,
agreed.
And then you can start having the bigger battles, and you don't always have to say, hey, we got this giant gun.
I don't know, man. They could just turn it on its heels and have Captain Phasma murder all the universe's cats.
Dude, really? Captain Phasma, I don't think she'd win.
Well, I'm not going to lie. They kind of set her up as a pushover here because, like, she was all scary, and then they just held the gun to her, and she was like, okay, I'll do what you want.
Kind of, dude. She didn't even fire once in the show.
No, like, she didn't even resist. She's like, my other guys will come get you.
Yeah, and you know what?
And then they didn't.
And you know what? And I was talking to a buddy about this, and you know what would have made 100 times a difference in Captain Phasma is if they would have made Captain Phasma the stormtrooper that fought John Boyega at the temple.
Yes.
If they'd have made that Captain Phasma, and instead of killing her off, she just gets, like, wounded.
Beat up or something.
Yeah, she just gets wounded or distracted or something like that, But if that was her, then everybody would have been like, she's freaking awesome, But they didn't. Now I just think she's some pushover. So I was really let down by Captain Phasma. She was a joke, man.
Yeah, so the idea is they're going to give her a much bigger role in the next one. But
well, they better. What? You might as well take her toys off the shelf.
I know.
I mean, I don't know if they were hinting at take her toys and put it in the garbage compactor in the movie, but so I'm assuming a couple people will do that. Because, so her character was just, I was not impressed.
No, likewise.
Yeah.
While we're talking about characters, what did you feel about Kylo Ren?
I freaking loved him beyond all reason.
Did you? So,
yes.
I've heard the other side of this coin. A lot of people thought when he took his wow, English is hard. When he took his mask off, that he lost all sense of being scary. Do you agree with that?
No. I don't agree with that at all, because I feel like that when he took his mask off, a lot of people are saying, oh, he lost all sense of being scary, but when he took his mask off, it took his character from someone I didn't know, didn't really understand, to now all of a sudden I see that it's someone that is fighting the urge. He actually becomes someone. Darth Vader, he's at a completely different point than Darth Vader. Darth Vader, he is bad. He has been bad. I mean, his history, you want to keep his helmet on until the very, very end. I never want to see him with his helmet off. But Kylo Ren, here at the beginning, we're seeing him become the villain. He's technically not really the bad villain yet. I mean, he's bad, but he's not the bad.
Well, and that's the thing. Is what I loved about Kylo Ren in this is that he was legitimately a character. Like he was having struggles, he was making choices, and he was trying to deal with the consequences of those choices.
Yes.
And so it very much set him apart from Darth Vader in the sense that Darth Vader was just kind of like a face. Well, he had a face, but he was just an evil embodiment there.
Yeah.
You know? But Kylo Ren is a person who is legitimately struggling with certain issues and is trying to figure out where his place in the universe is, and he thinks this is it.
Yes. And I have a feeling that when Kylo Ren becomes the evil guy, he is going to be evil. Like they are going to make him really bad.
And that's the thing, like, if they have him all of a sudden pull a Darth Vader and pick up the Emperor yelling no and throw him in a big hole, like, that's going to be too on the nose, I think, what happened originally. I think this will be that same arc, but it'll end the opposite direction.
I think it will, too. I think it will, too.
I think that's what's going to happen.
And I prefer it to end that way.
So would I. Because that will be the uniqueness people are clamoring for. It'll be the story arc that everybody understands. We've all seen it. We all know this. Yeah. And then at that moment where he would become the good guy now, he says, I'm definitely the bad guy.
Which is what you kind of already saw in this one.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, he kind of faced that trial when he decided to kill Han Solo. He's standing on the bridge. And actually, you know, I pointed this out to a buddy of mine when we went to go see the movie. When he's standing on the bridge, they did the exact same thing with Luke Skywalker in Return of the Jedi. What a wonderful movie. In Return of the Jedi, where you see him and Vader's talking about Leia and trying to sway Leia to the dark side. And you see Luke sitting there in the shadows, and the shadow splits his face right down the middle. Right? So you see the dark, and then you see the light. And you can tell, like, that's the symbol of him deciding. Like, he is, it's still a battle inside of Luke at that time. And then when he says, I'll turn your sister, now all of a sudden you see Luke jump out from the shadows, and it's nothing but shadow. Like, he is just in the dark. There is no light whatsoever. And he starts lunging because right then he decided, I'm going for the dark side, and I'm going to take him out. And it wasn't until he realized he cut off his hand and he was becoming Vader that he stopped and decided no.
That's true.
And then they did the exact same thing here with Kylo Ren. When he's on the bridge and the sun is burning out because they're sucking it up, you see the light on half of his face, and half of his face is red and the other half is not. And then when the sun burns out, you see his face go all red. And and they're showing, because I loved when they showed him, he was like tearing up. Like, you could tell this was a tough decision. This was not easy. Like, obviously he's not Vader. He is still making those decisions. This is tough. He's a real person, and he makes that decision to kill him, and that was his, like, I'm on the dark side. This is where I'm going. And so if they want to pull him back later, you're going to have to do something to really convince me that now he's on the light side, because he's already killed his dad.
Yeah. Everybody's favorite character.
Everyone's favorite character. Now, all of a sudden, if he's like, no, I don't want to kill my mom. Mom, I come back. I'll be like, come on!
Well, I'm not going to lie. So did you know that Han Solo was going to die? Could you tell? Were you like, Han Solo's not going to get through this movie?
I knew it just because of the way Harrison Ford had acted at the end of the other one and kind of how he was acting in this one, that I was like, not in the movie, but outside the movie in interviews, that I was like, nah, his character's gone. He's getting too old. He doesn't want to keep doing this. He doesn't even want to keep. He wanted his character written out in Return of the Jedi.
Return of the Jedi.
Great movie. Yeah. Return of the Jedi. So.
Well, and I completely agree, because Han Solo, like, Harrison Ford has historically hated doing interviews on Star Wars. And if you even watch him do interviews now, like, and people want to know, like, the nitty-gritty of the science behind Star Wars, he doesn't care.
No, he'll say that. He'll be like, I don't care, and just walk away. And you're like,
well, yeah, okay. Exactly. he doesn't care at all about any of that stuff.
No.
That he didn't like the fact that Han Solo was so wooden back in the day. And I mean, before anybody gets all mad at me, Han Solo was very one-dimensional in the original trilogy. He was a plucky, lighthearted, fun guy. That's like all he was. And Harrison Ford wanted him to die to create a little more depth, and so he could retire from ever having to be Han Solo again. But they brought Han Solo back, and the only reason he would be this excited to start helping people come see this movie was if this was going to be his ticket to retirement.
Yeah.
And not just money. He's got money.
Yeah.
Now Han Solo's dead. All he has to do is probably come back for a couple ghost scenes, and that's it.
Which I'm sure he will, especially because the new producer, director, the episode 8 is the same guy who did Looper, and so he's infamous for going back in time and showing,
Yeah. Not that we're suggesting time travel is coming into this, but we'll at least get.
Yeah, no, I don't want him to do. If he does time travel, I'm pretty sure some people will hang him by his toes.
I don't think
travel in Star Wars.
Hey, man, if we get time travel in there, I want to visit it modern day here. I mean, I want to see like a Star Trek 4 thing where they're all confused at what's going on with the primitive technology and they got to save whales or something like that.
Yeah, man. Whew. Don't you put that curse on Star Wars.
Hey, man, that was my favorite Star Trek movie.
I know. All right, man. So, what did you think of Kylo Ren? I went on and on and on about him. I absolutely loved this character. I thought it was great depth.
I loved him. People thought he was a whiny little boy, and I'm not going to lie. He was supposed to be a little whiny, but if you compare him to the last time they tried a whiny boy in Anakin Skywalker in the prequels, watching Christian, whatever his name is, act.
Driver?
No, the guy that was.
Okay.
He made me. Every time he was on screen, I wanted to punch myself in the eyes, like just repeatedly. I didn't want to stop punching myself in the eyes because I could not stand every scene he was in. Every time he talked, I wanted to catch on fire. Like I was like, please, an arsonist, just light me on fire right now. And that is all I wanted. Like every time he talked, I could not handle this kid. But Kylo Ren, our new whiny kid, showed that he had a temper while not being a baby, you know?
Yes. I loved the whininess that they gave him because it showed that he was not skilled. He is not cool, calm, and collective like Vader. He is a teenager, He's a teenager trying to learn his way, and he gets mad and cuts up chairs.
Well, yeah, and you got to keep buying the kid a new iPad every Christmas. He keeps chopping them up. I mean, so what I loved about this is you see him get angry, and you can totally understand that his angry, people are afraid of. A couple stormtroopers decide, all right, we're not walking down this way.
Yeah.
Well, you watch Anakin Skywalker in the prequel get angry, and you start handing him tissues, and you want to dump him down the garbage chute. You're like, all right, this little baby needs to get out.
Mainly because most of the time when he's angry, it's normally like, I didn't get my way, or I'm worried about my mommy. And in this one, he's like, they just let my prisoner go. And then he rips up the whole, place. It's like, I had a plan, and you guys are screwing me over.
Yeah.
You could just tell that's what he's getting mad about. And the other one, I was just like, you're crying about your mom. You're crying about, he's holding me back. I could be way better. You're crying about your little relationship. And it's like, oh, gosh, man, are you in high school?
Yeah, like you can show that you're that you got a temper like that without having to be a baby.
Yeah.
Without having to throw.
I thought they did a good job. I thought they did a great job.
Yeah, Kylo Ren was phenomenal. I loved him. I thought he was fantastic.
As weird as people say, we got more of character development, way more character development from Kylo Ren than we ever did from Darth Vader in A New Hope. Just those two movies. Now, Vader, we've got, movies upon movies upon movies expounding his character. But in just A New Hope, you didn't learn anything about Vader. Kylo Ren, we learned a ton.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
What'd you think of Snoke?
Right now, I think he's a non-character. He's like just a big boogaloo off in the distance. We don't know what he is or.
Dude, when he first appeared on screen and I saw him as this giant, 25-foot monster, I thought, oh no, this is the Jar Jar Binks moment. This is it. And then when I realized he was a hologram, I was like, oh, thank God. Like, it was such a sigh of relief to realize, okay, no, it's just a hologram, because I really was worried there for a little bit. And a lot of people are saying they were really bummed out about the graphics on him, but I was like, he's a hologram. They'll do way better when it's time for the real movie to hit, like when he's actually present.
Yeah. They have the excuse right now that he's a hologram, and that's easy.
Yeah, that's easy. So what about FN2187?
Finn. I'm not gonna lie. All three of the new kids, like Finn, or John Boyega, Oscar Isaac, and Daisy Ridley, I loved them. Like Oscar Isaac, did not get enough screen time, but every scene he was in, he stole. Like he did great in the scenes he was there. I can't wait to see more of him.
Yeah.
But I thought he was fantastic. John Boyega and Daisy Ridley's chemistry together. Man, I want them to start dating in real life.
Dude, don't.
In real life. I want them to do Robert
I thought you were
going to
say in the movie. I was like, dude, I'll turn this off and we will not
No, I
talk
don't.
for a week.
I honestly, I strongly think their characters should not date in the movies.
I don't want them to. If they get them to date, I'll be really irritated.
Yeah, because their chemistry's so good that their bond, I don't want them to try and like muddle what they've got right now.
And I'm hoping that final scene when she kisses him on the forehead and said, I believe I'll see you again, friend. I was like, please tell me he just totally got friend zoned. Please tell me that was the friend zone.
That's what I heard. She called him a friend right there. I guarantee friend zone just happened.
Kiss on the forehead? Oh, please.
You are one of the best friends I've ever had. Kiss the forehead. Friend zone. How clear is that?
Stamp it on your head, bud. You just got it. Yeah.
Got a stamp right there. Friend zone.
Which I hope so, man. I really don't want them to date.
Well, I don't want any... Because, like, the romantic thing was cute in Empire Strikes Back. It was good. It was fine. But I'd rather not focus on any romantic stuff this trilogy. Can we just not...
I wouldn't either. I'm assuming... But even if they do bring in some kind of romantic thing, I want it to be, like... Even if John Boyega's character finds a romantic someone, I want it to be someone that's just, like, freaking amazing fighter. And that I like her because of her fighting and not because she's hooking up with one of the heroes.
Yeah.
That's what I want.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If they have something, and I don't want to see them kissing, and I don't want to see them, I just want to see them kind of like the Han and Leia. Just give them like quirky little, I could tell that they're bickering back and forth and they like each other. That's what I want to see.
And that's the thing, like, I feel like John Boyega and Daisy Ridley are great. I really do. But the romantic stuff we've done, I want to focus on this new adventure. I want our imaginations to decide if they get together or not.
Right.
I want by the end of Return of the Jedi for it not to be clearly answered and for us to say, all right, a bunch of people go online and write fan fiction about how they're getting together right now. I want that to be where the romance happens. Don't put it in these movies.
Yeah.
Not that I've got anything wrong with romance.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, though, with John Boyega, I'll start off with John Boyega, but with John Boyega going into this movie, I did not think I was going to like his character.
No? Why?
Based on the previews, because in the previews, when I see him pick up a lightsaber, and I was honestly thinking, how is he going to go from a stormtrooper to wielding a lightsaber and beating him in the lightsaber battle? But when he got beat every single time he picked up the lightsaber, but he was able, to do something, but he got beat every time. I was like, okay, they are writing this character really well.
Oh, yeah.
And then, when he's just, even when they introduce him and he's like, because it's the right thing to do. And he's like, you need a pilot. And he's like, I need a pilot. It's like, okay, yes, I love these characters. I love the connection. Even Finn's connection with Poe. They're like brotherly friendship right off the bat. I really liked.
John Boyega, his character with both characters he really associated with Oscar Isaac and with Daisy Ridley, his chemistry with both of them were phenomenal.
Yeah.
Like, with both, I instantly believed these people could be friends.
Yes. Yeah.
Like, it was instantaneous.
Not only that, but with Poe's characters, when I saw him and the way that he acts and jokes around and has like a good time, like I honestly feel like he would be a guy that like in Top Gun, like, you know, when he's flying, he's just having a good old time and he's up there just doing his job. And then when he's on the ground, he's having a great time and joking around and laughing. And, you know, he literally, like, I feel like they took him, like he was supposed to be in Top Gun and they were like, wait a minute, we need you in Star Wars. And then they said, wait about 40 years, we'll put you in Star Wars. I love both of their characters. But I got to admit, the one that stole the movie, easily Rey.
Daisy Ridley. What I love is how all three of these actors aren't like huge. Oscar Isaac's been in lots of stuff, but he's not a huge name yet.
Yeah.
He's going to be.
Oh, he's now. Yeah, he's a huge name now.
John Boyega and Daisy Ridley were both so good, I'd be shocked if they aren't huge in the next few years as well.
Well, like, yeah. I mean, they'll have to do kind of like what Harrison Ford did and keep working like crazy on the side to break off so they don't end up being a Mark Hamill where all you are is Luke Skywalker for the rest of your life.
Or the voice of Joker. Come on, give him some credit.
I did love him in the Joker, though. He's really, really good at that. But anything where he shows his face, I mean, because unless you actually look at the credits and know who's actually voicing it, you have no idea.
I didn't know until like 3 years ago that was Mark Hamill.
Really? Well, anything that they actually show their face in, everybody's automatically like, hey, what's Luke Skywalker doing in this?
Yeah.
You know? But because Harrison Ford did Star Wars and then immediately did Indiana Jones that everybody loved, they were like, oh, yeah, no, that's Harrison Ford. Oh, yeah, that's Harrison Ford. Yeah, I know, he's an amazing actor, you know? I mean, because you look at the Harry Potter kid, he's doing other stuff, but he's not, like, really excelling yet. He's got a couple movies coming up, though, that I think look real good.
Well, and I think because he's done a good job at doing lots of other work on the side. Yeah. So, and for everybody who's listening, we're talking about Daniel Radcliffe.
Oh, yeah.
Just come along with us. We're talking about Daniel. But, no, I think he's got some good stuff in the works, on the way, things he's done. Like, I enjoy The Woman in Black. I enjoy that one. We put that on every now and then.
Yeah. I like when my woman's in black. But anyway, so on back to Rey. So back to Rey. I thought her acting across the board was phenomenal. For her to go from not being in anything, I mean, even when, like, in the beginning where she puts that hat on, where she puts the flight helmet on, and she's sitting there, I looked at her like this innocent girl that's out there barely making it by. And she's got big dreams, and and she acted it well. She even sat there and was like, yeah.
I know, I totally agree.
Like, even in her little gestures, I was like, she's acting that flawlessly. And then later on, when Kylo Ren walks up to her and, you know, she holds her arm back, you know, because he freezes her. When he holds her arm back and she's sitting there and you can see the terrified look and she's shaking, I'm like, dude, she acted that out flawlessly. Yeah. Flawlessly. I was so impressed with her acting across the board.
Absolutely. She was fantastic. And I really hope that she goes on to big, great stuff from here.
I do too.
I think that Star Wars has brought us three fantastic actors that are going to do great in Star Wars and beyond.
Yes. Yeah. So I would completely agree with that.
So, how do you feel about the original characters that were in there? Like Mark Hamill's huge lines. He had at least 3 monologues in there, I think.
I know. Well, it sounded like in the previews, it sounded like he was going to have a short little line. Like you were going to see him with Rey for a little bit, where he says, you know, my family has it, you have that power too, and then they chopped it out.
Yeah.
And so, but I love the way they ended it. Which they did great because it's not like a single poster or a single preview had anything to do with Luke. So at the end of the movie, when they just showed him for a little bit, a lot of people were like, where's Luke? This is bull crap. Where's Luke? And I'm like, they never said Luke was even going to be part of it. Like, you don't see him anywhere.
That's the thing. Is like, J.J. Abrams made it very clear that his absence from all the marketing materials was intentional.
Yeah.
And we know why now, because he's barely in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd
It's like, I'm
love to
not going to
have Mark.
advertise to you something that's not there.
I'd love to have Mark Hamill's job where all you do is show up with a robe and you're like, hey, here's your
Yeah.
paycheck.
He probably got paid a ton for that. He just showed up, and he didn't say a thing. He just looked at her, looked at the thing, and then that was it.
Yeah. And then all he had to do was stand there on. I mean, they probably flew him to I think it was in Ireland or Scotland where they filmed it.
Yeah.
And he flew him to, and he was like, "Oh, I'll take vacation in Scotland. Yeah, sure. Yeah. When did you want to film me in this robe? All right, let's go."
Yeah, like that's fantastic.
But I did notice that while he's over there, he is standing by a grave.
Is he really?
Yes.
I didn't notice that.
There's a grave right there at his feet. And so he is at someone's grave.
I'm gonna have to check that out.
You don't have to. I'm telling you, it's real.
Yeah, I believe you. I'm gonna.
No, so I mean, there's one thing. I've watched a lot of these speculation videos where they talk about what they think is going to happen, and not a single one of them has mentioned that grave. And I'm like, dude, that's kind of a big thing. That means he's there visiting someone's grave. So I don't know. Anyway.
Little research.
So let me ask you this: Who do you think's Rey's family?
So here's the thing. I think that it is Luke Skywalker.
You think?
I don't want it to be.
I don't want it to be.
I think that's too easy an answer, and I think that's dumb. But I almost guarantee you it's Luke. Like, what I would much rather it be, have you seen that Ben Kenobi theory? That it's Obi-Wan's kid?
Yeah.
I'd much rather be Obi-Wan's kid.
How on But I don't understand how on Turnations it would ever be Obi-Wan's kid.
Well, there'd have to be a logistics explained.
No. Well,
With a Mama Jedi and a Papa Jedi.
And you've been sleeping for 40 years, and then we woke you up, and now you're this young woman. Because...
Yeah.
Because,
I mean, she's a little young.
Obi-Wan would have had to have you when he was 86 years old.
Well, it doesn't necessarily mean she has to be his kid, but a grandkid. I know. The thing is I just really don't want it to be Luke.
I don't want it to be. You know what I really want it to be? I want it to be, because in the movie she says Luke Skywalker. I thought he was a myth, so she doesn't even know. She knows the name Luke, but she thinks he's fake.
Yeah.
So I don't know how. And when they drop her off, she's like 6, 7, or 8. Man, she's not like.
Yeah.
She's not like some infant. I really want it to be. This is me, my writer coming in. I really want it to be that she was young, was force sensitive, and Luke picked her up to start at the school. And Kylo Ren and the other knights were there, training and practicing, and this little girl showed that she was stronger in the Force than they were. And it ticked him off, and he kind of went to the dark side because he got mad thinking they were holding him back or whatnot. And he got mad, took the Knights of Ren with, and then Luke, after they went haywire, took the girl and put her into hiding so that they couldn't find the little girl, and then had the old guy watch over her from a distance.
You're onto something here.
I'll crop that out. Restart.
So Daisy Ridley and Kylo Ren, their characters seem to be pretty close in age. So, like, you can't. As far as I'm concerned, I don't think it would make sense to have Kylo Ren go bad and her be 6. Like, but I think you're onto something here. Maybe Luke Skywalker saw the future. He's done it before, and he's got a little girl in his place. He's got little Kylo Ren in his place. And he sees little Kylo Ren, and all of a sudden he sees the future as to what Kylo Ren's going to become and how in danger this little girl is, and he hides her.
Now, see, I don't see them as the same age. I would easily put it like if Kylo Ren, maybe he's like 15 or 16.
Yeah.
And goes off the deep end, and she's like 6 or 7.
Really?
Yeah.
You'd say there's a 10-year difference
Sure.
there.
She's 23. I mean, how hard is it to see him as a 33-year-old?
It's not. He probably is a 33-year-old. Let me look this guy up.
Don't do it right now.
Well, and I'm not going to lie. I looked over here. The only thing over here is my fish. They're not going to do that for me.
Like, you're looking at him for answers, dude. What do you think? Is he 33? Or...
Hey, Fish, I need you to look this up for
Yeah.
me. If you think.
So that's what I would think, and this is just coming from my brain, and I think it's a genius idea, and I'm really hoping that they go with that, because if they put him as Luke's daughter, I think you're going to have the same reaction that you have from people now of people saying, "Oh, it's the same thing. It's
It's
so
too
and so."
easy.
For some reason, the only people that have the Force in this entire universe are people that are children of Skywalkers.
Yeah,
What
and
do you
I'm not
think?
gonna lie. I love the idea that some of these people just came out of nowhere. I don't want them all to be related. I don't want them all to be like linked through some cosmic thing. Like I get the Force exists, but the fact that John Boyega, as far as I know, his character has absolutely no relation to anybody. I love that.
I do too. I do
Like
too.
like there's been rumors that he's going to be Lando Calrissian's kid, and I was like, come on, there can't be just one black guy in the universe.
Yeah.
Like like let him come from his own family tree, you know? Like he doesn't have to be from the only other black
I
guy we saw
know.
in there.
I know. I'm really hoping they don't go, because all that does is taking this storyline that it could be anything you want, and you're making it really teeny
Yeah.
tiny. Now you have nowhere to branch out to when you could be doing all these amazing things. And I'm really hoping that Rey is someone else's kid that he brought in, but she
Yep.
was way more powerful than everybody else, and they got mad and broke off and did their own thing, and now he got to put her in hiding. And I'm hoping that gravestone is not his wife, and he goes, "This was your mom," and I'm like, "Oh no." Because then they have to explain why he was willing to take his wife with him, hide him and his wife, but they were like, "We don't want to hide our kid. Let's put our kid on some desert planet with some fat guy that buys parts." Because now you're like, why didn't you take your daughter with you? Obviously, you were safe hidden away.
Well, that's the thing. Like you're saying, if these people aren't related, if Daisy Ridley's character isn't related to these people, if John Boyega's character isn't related to these people, then it shows that there's so much going on in the whole galaxy that we're not even a part of.
Right. Which
Like
opens up the door
it
for
makes
so much stuff.
exactly it makes the galaxy feel real. That there's other things going on than just what Luke Skywalker and his kids are doing. You
Yeah.
know.
Oh, yeah.
So I here's the problem. I almost without doubt, like I'll put money that that is Luke Skywalker's kid.
Really?
Yeah, I just don't want it to be for all these reasons.
Well, how come she wouldn't have even known who Luke Skywalker was?
I don't know. They're going to make up some nonsense explanation as to why it's his kid, but it's his kid, and I really don't want it to be.
I did like though that they kept emphasizing him putting his hand on R2, which means I think he purposely shut down R2.
So, okay, here's a complaint. I think it's a little weird that R2 just wakes up at the end to solve all the problems.
It's R2. He's amazing.
Like, the Deus Machina, like, you need to have that. At least give me a reason why R2 wakes up. The pulse from the explosion of the Starkiller base, or something happened, and now R2 feels better. Like, why does R2 just show up right there so that we can get that final scene? Like,
I honestly think they're going to go with Luke is powering him down, because they showed it in the preview and they showed it in the movie, in the vision of Luke putting his hand on him. I think they're going to go with the route that Luke shut him down and Luke turned him on. Well, that was a little weird, but Luke shut him down.
hey, what does it take to turn on R2, do you think?
Luke shut him down and Luke rebooted him. How about that?
Reboot him. I like you change your words here. Reboot it.
That's right. Yeah. I think that's the route they're going to go.
All right. So let's get into the future of the franchise. Do you think it's in a good spot? Do you think it's going to...
I think it's an amazing spot. I think it's literally in the spot where they could go any direction that you want to take it. I think in the next movie, and I'm really hoping that we get to see it, in the next movie, I don't want to introduce all the Knights of Ren. but I want to see more than just Kylo. And I want
Absolutely.
them to introduce another Knight of Ren that's pretty amazing. I want them to make Captain Phasma actually feel like a captain of an army.
Of something.
Of something.
Yeah.
I want to make her seem like she's good at something.
Yeah. Instead of getting a gun pointed at her head.
Yeah, I don't want to see too much of Kylo, just because I want to make it feel like he's off getting the training he needs.
So you think the focus should be on a new villain?
Not even a new villain as much as
a different villain.
Captain Phasma. You'll stick with the general. I would like to see General Hux start stepping in, and I'd like to see more of the Knights of Ren go out and start playing a role, because you'll see a little bit of Kylo here and there, but I really want them to emphasize, kind of like Luke, take him out and let him train.
Yeah.
Don't just keep him in the movie, because then I'm going to think, where's his training? Why is he getting so good over time?
Well, and it would be a cool thing to kind of not necessarily entirely put him on hiatus for the second movie, but have him show up for little moments.
Yes. Yeah.
And then in the third one, show up and really make an entrance of how cool he is now.
Right.
Be like, I took that last movie off so I could do this.
Yes. And the same thing with Rey. I want to see her training, but I don't want to see her really involved with the story too much. I really want the next... Well, because you need her trained, because the moment you pull her out, you have to pull Luke out too. Because it's not going to be like a Yoda thing where Luke's like, okay, come back again.
Yeah.
Luke's going to go with her. And
do you think we'll get a backpack running scene where Daisy Ridley's running with Luke Skywalker on her back, doing little flips over the islands? I think that's...
No, but I guarantee the ocean, the waves are going to get big and knock the Millennium Falcon into the ocean, and she's going to be like, I can't bring it up. I can't bring it up.
Yeah.
So I hope we see her training with him quite a bit, and I want them to come in at the very end of the movie, to do something at the very end of the movie, and I want Kylo Ren to do the same thing, kind of come in towards the end of the movie. I want to see the Knights of Ren come in a little bit, but I really want to leave them off and just dabble here and there. So if you wanted to continue with it, you can continue with the Knights of Ren.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to continue with just Kylo. If you introduce them correctly, then you can continue with them and take them whatever direction you want. And then I really want to see John Boyega and Oscar Isaac play a very heavy role. Like I said, I think in the next one you're going to start seeing more soldier type battles. Yeah. What about you?
Yeah. What's that? Oh, honestly, with how safe this was, I just want to see them go into a direction that's a little new. I really think that's what's going to happen. I think I'm going to get that. I'm excited to see this whole trilogy come to pass, because it looks like they're really trying hard to do what the fans want. That they're really trying hard to give us what we think is what we need.
Yeah. I like the fact that they already started filming the next one before this one was even released. Because then it tells me that they're not going to be sprinting through and trying to get all this stuff done. They're just going to be like, okay, we already have the Millennium Falcon built. Leave it there. Let's keep rolling.
Yep. And as many people complain about this being a Star Wars 4 ripoff, I really think this sets the stage perfectly for the new films. That this is what we needed in order to trust Star Wars again.
Oh, yeah.
And so they gave us this nice, comfortable, easy thing, because it's what we needed in order to really trust that Disney wouldn't ruin Star Wars.
Yeah.
I mean, how can anybody right now say Disney ruined Star Wars when they really just gave us Star Wars 4 again?
Yeah.
It's not ruined. Yeah. You can't say it's ruined without saying you don't like the last Star Wars.
Right.
So,
yeah. I don't know. I think they did a good job, especially because Disney has so much writing on Star Wars.
The thing is this is easily, people are asking if this is going to break the worldwide record that Avatar is currently holding, and I don't think there's even a question. I think it's just a matter of time. We'll probably hear about it in the next few months.
Yeah.
And so I think
it's still got $1 billion to go, but I took my wife to the theater yesterday, and it was still packed, and it was like at 3:00 in the afternoon.
Yeah, like I'm probably gonna go see it again. That would be my third time to go. Like so many people are going for repeat viewings. It hasn't even opened in China yet.
Well, I think
Like,
it opened on the 7th, so it's
oh,
only been open for like 2 or 3 days.
nice.
Yeah,
See,
but
like
still,
so much.
but China, I think the largest. I think the largest amount in China that we've ever gotten is like 400 million or something like that.
Is it?
It's not like massive.
And I was hearing a funny thing about that the other day, that China doesn't sound so excited about it because the only Star Wars movies they've seen are the prequels.
I wouldn't blame them.
You're like, oh well, sorry, that's all you got.
I know,
Oh,
but I
man.
know Disney's been doing a crap ton of marketing over there.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
and I think this is going to hold that record pretty solid, and it's because of how well this was received. The next one is going to be better.
I don't think it'll do better.
You don't?
No. It might beat its opening weekend. The only reason why I would think it would do better is if it does extremely well in China and start picking up new fans. If it doesn't start picking up new fans, you'll see it kind of drop off just because the hype around these movies was so big.
That's true.
The hype around this movie was massive. And so, yeah, I mean, yeah, you are going to get repeat goers, but, on this one, people are going to be like, dude, you got to go see the new Star Wars. It's a new Star Wars. But then when the next one comes out, we'll already have this one, plus we'll have Rogue One, which is another Star Wars one, and then we'll have 8. So by 8, people will kind of be acclimated to Star Wars, and it'll kind of start becoming more or less like Marvel. Where people are like, there's always another Marvel. They're going to keep coming. I'll see it in a little bit.
And they'll be good. Like it'll be fine. Like let's go and enjoy it.
Yes.
The Civil War doesn't look any good, but I mean. Let's get this on the record. I'm very excited for Civil War. I think it looks amazing.
Yeah. Honestly, we'll talk about this another time. But it is, that will probably be my favorite movie next year. I've already decided.
Even if it's terrible, you can go and they'll just have a poop sitting up on the monitor, and you'll think greatest movie ever.
That's amazing. As long
Well, I'm not gonna lie. I sat down in the theater to see Star Wars: The Force Awakens, and somebody turned to me and they were like, "Do you think you're gonna like it? Are you excited?" And I was like, honestly, they could probably just put Harrison Ford's butt up for 2 hours right now, and I would probably give this the best movie of the year.
Just because you were excited for it, huh?
Yeah, I mean, The Force Awakens could have done that and still broken all these records, I'm sure.
Yeah, because people are going to go watch it. But it was a great movie, which now means people are going to re-watch it.
That's the thing, is I think this sequel is going to do very well just because of how good a movie this was.
Yeah.
And I really think that's going to make a difference here.
It will. It will make a big difference. Because if you go back and look at when like Phantom Menace and Clone Wars and all those came out, the initial the reaction of the public was, oh yeah, it's a great movie. And then over time when people started watching it, they were like, no. Now that the hype is gone, this movie stinks.
Yeah.
But with this movie, I think the initial reaction, you're going to have a lot of people that are like, no, I wanted it just like the original. Or, oh, it's just like the originals. I don't like it. And then over time, you're going to have people say, no, it was amazing. Exactly like Empire Strikes Back. When it first came out, people were like, no, we didn't like it. But now it's known as one of the best.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
I think that's what it was. So, all right, man, that's the future of it. That's the way I feel. I'm really hoping that's the way they take it. I really want Rey's character. Oh! The lightsaber battle.
Oh, yeah. What about it?
Did you love it?
Honestly, yes. I mean, the fact that it wasn't choreographed, super classy, loved it. I was like, this is a dirty lightsaber fight, and I couldn't be happier.
Yeah, that was the same with me. When I watched that, I felt like it was more or less going back to Vader versus Luke type thing, where he's just hacking away, swinging as hard as he can. He's not flipping and dipping and doing all this crazy stuff.
Well, and do you remember Star Wars Episode 4 when Obi-Wan Kenobi does his really lame, like, little spin in place before he, like, blocks? Like, the lightsaber fight between Darth Vader and Obi-Wan Kenobi was just terrible. There was two old guys staring at each other, holding their lightsabers up, covering each other. And so I love that it didn't rely on the showmanship of a crazy lightsaber fight. That it gave us a real down-to-earth, focused moment between two people. And I thought that was fantastic.
Yes. And I thought they did a great job in showing, one, that Kylo Ren, someone who's very familiar with the lightsaber, was shot by the weapon that had been, like, blowing people up. Yep. So, you know, he is very, very big-time injured. It showed him bleeding. It showed him constantly hitting it, trying to get the pain away. So and even when you see him, he is sweating. He is beat up. Yeah. But when he fights John Boyega does not last long. He gets the crap beat out of him. And then when Daisy grabs the lightsaber and they start fighting, they did an awesome job with her hacking once and then turning and running. Yeah. And then hacking once and turning and running. And it wasn't until the very, very end where she said the Force, and she said, I got to start using the Force, that she started coming back. And even when she did that, it wasn't like, you didn't see her jump off a tree. You didn't see her do backflips. You didn't see her do, you didn't see just staring at her face and blue and red and blue and red. No, it was, she still just swung, hack, jab. She was still doing the very basic moves because that's what she knew. She's not an amazing fighter, and he's all beat up. And so finally at the end, it was like, okay, that was how you should have portrayed lightsaber fights. Because you're right. In the first three, when you see them, it's like, you guys are dancing. You're not fighting. And I know a lot of people are like, yeah, but they're really experienced Jedi.
But what's funny is it just from a cinematography angle. Have you seen that video where they break down that duel between Darth Maul and Obi-Wan Kenobi, and they show that all the lightsaber fighting actually they weren't even trying to hit each other. How much it looks like it's choreographed just because of all the dancing and stuff like that. Oh. I mean, you don't have that here. You have it in a situation where it looks like two people are desperately trying to survive this fight.
Yes, and I loved it. Yep. I wanted to make sure we talked about that because I loved that it went back to that.
Yeah, no, I thought that was great.
And even when John Boyega pulled out the lightsaber against that stormtrooper kicked his butt. Yeah. And I loved it. I mean, I saw a meme where it showed a picture of Captain Phasma, and it said, was supposed to be the new Boba Fett. And then it showed a picture of the stormtrooper that beat John Boyega, and it was like, became the new Boba Fett. Because everybody was like, dude, that guy was awesome.
Yeah, I think you're right. That should have been Captain Phasma.
It should have been. And had they done that short little fight scene, and then, right when she's about to hit him, something goes on where, she falls back, and then he gets up and tries to run away, and then they're all circled or something, where she's still okay. Everybody would have said Captain Phasma is amazing. Yeah. And then when he'd have come back and said, I'm in charge now, everybody would be like, okay, now this is all making a lot more sense. Yep. So. Yeah. Yeah, that's what I did. And I hated the squids.
Really?
The Raptors. I did. I hated them.
I thought they were innocent enough.
I think that is a terrible choice.
All right.
I would have left them. I just wouldn't have showed them.
That's true.
I would have showed people screaming. I would have showed, guys flying down a hall or something crazy like that. You still could have shown the tentacles. All you had to do is have people screaming and loud bangs, and then people going, "We got to get to the Falcon." Pew!
Yep. Get to the Falcon. I agree. Showing them was a problem, I think.
Yeah, that's why I said I had a problem with the squids. They should have left them out.
All right. Well, I think that's time for today.
It is time. In general, I would give this movie like a 9.5, man.
I would as well. I loved it. I thought it was fantastic.
It was great. I would tell anybody that watched this to go watch it again.
Do it.
In theaters. Did you see it in 3D?
No.
Yeah. I saw it in 3D, but I don't think it really added much. I'm not a huge fan of today's 3Ds.
I'm not a big fan of 3D. I don't bother.
Yeah, it doesn't really make much of a difference to me.
Well, you got any videos coming up here soon?
Yeah, I think actually you are going to be putting together the Warcraft trailer video. I think we are going to um, probably do a review on what movies we thought were the best for 2015. And I would like for us to sit down and kind of go over what movies we're most excited about for 2016.
That's right. I think that's a great idea to get a 2015 in review, 2016 in excitement. We'll get those videos up shortly, and hopefully people enjoy them.
That's right. That's right. And you can always go check out our channel for additional movies and videos and reviews that we've done. This is our first one where you can actually see both of our faces. So woohoo to that.
Tell us if you don't want to see this again, because it would really do me a lot of good to not have to put my face on here. I could just put up like a piece of paper, like a little something else to look at, you know. So if you guys hate it, please tell us. That way we never have to do this again.
And if you do hate it, please say that you love it so he has to keep doing it again. So, all right, anyway, so we do have more videos. Go check them out on our channel. But this is Adam here for the Real Movie Review, and I'll see you real soon, guys.
Take it easy.